Hey guys, what's up? It's Edison T. Crux here again. And today I just wanted to talk briefly about being genuine. Being your real, honest self. Particularly if you're doing any kind of stuff online, or particularly if you're trying to run a business online or do any kind of self-promotion online. This is so vital and so important to be genuine, to keep it real, to be your honest self. Be your best self, but be honest and know that it's okay to have faults. It's okay to not be perfect. Nobody's perfect. And when you think about it, let's take a moment and think about in fiction, in stories. All right, I'm a writer, so of course I think of stories a lot, and that's very much what I do. I think in stories, and I tell the truth through fabrications. And when you think about it, we connect with characters in stories, in movies or books, or video games. We connect with them more for their flaws than we do for their strengths. We admire their strengths, but we connect with their flaws. We connect with their struggles. You know, when you think, like, let's think of, say, some superheroes, right? Because most people are familiar with the big superhero characters, like Superman. Let's use Superman as an example, right? We admire and think it's awesome that he can leap tall buildings in a single bound. He's faster than a locomotive, more powerful than I don't even remember all of the things. So we admire those things, but we don't think we can do any of that, and it doesn't really inspire us. We might admire it, but we're not inspired by it. Where then you have, say, and also a thing with Superman, how interesting would any Superman story be if there wasn't kryptonite? Right? If he didn't have a weakness, then that's just boring. No one's interested. Well, then let's take, say, Spider-Man. Spider-Man also can, well, swing across tall buildings with a single web, and he's also pretty strong, I guess, and he's got spidey senses, yeah! So he's also got some cool stuff, but outside of his superhero persona, he is kind of a nerd. He's got kind of a bad job. He has trouble getting the girl. He's got a, boss who doesn't appreciate him. He's got real human struggles and real human flaws. Now, we connect with that. We like that. In a lot of ways, that makes him more likable as a main character. So, the same is, what's my point? What am I getting at here? If you're doing any kind of marketing or promoting of yourself, online or in person, wherever, but particularly online, be real. And don't be afraid of your flaws. Don't be afraid of your struggles. I'm guilty of this, okay? Is I only wanted to show my best self online. I only wanted to seem like I was the man. I wanted to give across only my strengths to the world. I wanted to only be seen for those. But by doing that, I seem less human. And although people might admire that, they might admire seeing my strengths, they might not be inspired by my struggles and by the human element that I bring to the table. So that's something that I've been changing myself and trying to be more open with. Be okay with the fact that I'm flawed. We're all flawed. And that's great. Celebrate it. Celebrate our flaws and our challenges and our struggles. That's what makes us human, and that's what makes the whole game of life worth playing. When exercising, the only way to really gain muscle, to get stronger, is to lift heavy weights. You only get stronger through resistance. As a person, too. You only get stronger as an individual, as a human being, by there being resistance, by overcoming resistance, and gradually facing more and more. That's how you become a stronger person, in the same exact way that you have a more strong or a stronger body. The same exact philosophy. So I hope this has been insightful, and for anyone who is seeking any kind of endeavor where promoting themselves is good, or even if not, just don't be afraid to show your struggles. Don't complain about them. I wouldn't recommend, turning the whole of the internet into your complaining fest, but that's because complaining doesn't really help you either. But being human does. So I wouldn't recommend going around complaining about your problems. But I would recommend sharing the fact that you're struggling and showing the world that you're human and that you're growing and that you're challenging yourself and getting better. And that will build trust. That will build people who are inspired by that. And it will make everyone involved more comfortable, because you will be more comfortable with who you are. And other people will know who you are more, and they'll trust you more, and they'll be more inclined to hear what you have to say. So if at any time you are carrying yourself on online or anywhere, I highly recommend to not be afraid of your own flaws, because that's what makes you human.